Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have swatches for you from the Dreamscape Collection for Fall 2019 from ORLY. This collection was sent to me from HB Beauty Bar, so in the description box below I will link the HB Beauty Bar site, I will link their Instagram page, I will link the ORLY site and their Instagram, and then I will link my Instagram where you can see more swatches of everything from this collection. So there are 6 polishes to look at today, and let's go ahead and get started. So first we have Ethereal Plane, and this is a light nudie pink shade, and it does have a strong blue flash to it. So here's our first coat of Ethereal Plane. This one is pretty sheer here on this first coat. Overall it covers decently evenly. I do have some pretty ridgy nails, so it'll probably cover more evenly with a base coat than it's showing right now. Formula is good. It's not too thick or too thin. I didn't have any kind of running or pooling with this one. I do always struggle to use the ORLY brushes because they are pretty wide and I'm used to working, or I prefer working with thinner brushes anyway. So anyway, this is building up in 2 coats. I am going to show you what a third coat looks like today. The shimmer that's in this stands out pretty good considering how light of a color this is. So this is completely opaque in 3 coats for me. I am doing thicker coats to make sure that does cover. And you don't have to worry about brush strokes through the shimmer. They do dry nice and smooth and nice and glossy. So there's 3 coats. Up next we have Dreamweaver, and this is a dusty pinky it's leaning in the direction of a rosy pink, but with a lot more of a peachy tone to it. Here's our first coat of Dreamweaver. So this one covers pretty well here on this first coat. It's a little bit streaky and I can still make out my nail line, so I am going to go in for a second coat. Good formula again, not too thick or too thin. I hate getting cotton ball fuzzies in my nails, so I'm sorry if that bothers you as well. Good formula, like I was saying, no running or pooling. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats. This one is going to dry down nice and glossy all on its own. I always recommend wearing a top coat just to protect your manicure, but if you absolutely don't have time for a top coat, you don't need it on this one. So there is 2 coats. Up next we have Air of Mystique, and this is a deeper kind of midnight blue metallic. Here's 1 coat of Air of Mystique, and this one covers completely in 1 coat for me. This has a good formula. I did have some issues with it. It applies very brushstrokey, and those definitely don't go away as it dries, and it dries really quickly, where if you are manipulating it too much you can definitely create more issues than necessary. It'll dry decently glossy all on its own. Again, you will want top coat just to keep your manicure lasting. I would never wear this one as a full manicure or even as an accent nail, but I do think this one will be a good contender for stamping. So there's 1 coat. Up next we have Freefall, and this is a pearlized, extremely light gray. Here's our first coat of Freefall. And again, considering this is such a light color, this covers really well here on this first coat, and it has the added elements of the shimmery, pearly bits, so I'm really impressed with this one. Good, easy to work with formula. Again, no running or pooling or staining on this one. The shimmery particles that are in here do stand out nicely, and this one is so beautiful for like Christmas time or winter just in general, Hanukkah, all of the good things that happen in the winter. This one is very seasonally appropriate. So this is completely opaque in 2 coats. You don't have to worry about brush strokes through that shimmer, and this one will dry nice and glossy on its own. So there is 2 coats. Up next we have Astral Projection, and this is a concrete gray cream. Here's our first coat of Astral Projection. So this one covers pretty good here on this first coat. I can still visibly make out my entire nail line, so I am going to go in for a second coat. Formula is good. It's a little bit thin, but it's not difficult to work with. I just have to make sure not to work too thickly or it can run and pull down the sides of my nails. So here's our second coat, but that does cover completely in 2 coats for me. Depending on your application, you may want to go in for a third coat. This one is also going to dry down nice and glossy all on its own, just like everything else we've looked at today, I think. And I didn't have any kind of staining with this one either. So there is 2 coats. And lastly for today we have Into the Deep, and this is kind of like a darker, stormy gray cream. And here's our first coat of Into the Deep. So this one is kind of more of a crelly formula in that it doesn't apply quite like a cream. It's going to be a little bit squishy on the nail, and it gives like a different appearance than a full-on cream would. Formula is great, not too thick, not too thin, no running, pooling, or staining, very smooth and easy to apply. So here's our second coat, and that does cover completely in 2 coats for me. Depending on your application, you may want to go in for a 3rd coat, but I really don't think that'll be necessary. This one is going to dry down also nice and glossy all on its own. Again, I always recommend wearing a top coat just to protect your manicure. It's a less chance of it chipping early or getting messed up. So there is 2 coats. So my favorite of the collection is Into the Deep. This is a gorgeous kind of super deep gray shade, not purple, gray shade. That's absolutely perfect for not only the fall, but it can bring us through the winter time. A good 2-coat formula. It's just a really flattering gray, and I can really dig a gray polish. So Into the Deep is my favorite. And guys, that is it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this collection. Let me know if you plan on picking any of them up, and let me know what your favorite was. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and I will talk to you again next time.